Panagdait sa tanan and welcome to Humanities 13 class, also known as the Contemporary Philippine Arts from the Regions. A short introduction of myself. My name is Justin Romer S. Monteron. I am currently 21 years old and I finished my degree in this institution, St. Columban College, Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in MAPE, last 2019. If you want to know more about me or you have any concern about our subject, you can contact me using this Facebook link. You may copy and paste this to your URL or simply text me a message or call me at this phone number. You can contact me during weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let's first have a short orientation. By the way, this orientation is only applicable for those taking online class or blended learning. If you are taking modular, you may skip this part and proceed to our lesson discussion. For our first concern, video conference, we'll be using the Zoom meeting application for our video conference because daghan may siyang feature nga ganahan nako, so that's why kanya tong gamiton. By the way, we will be having a fixed link for our Zoom meeting. Dili na ko mag-send og another link next meeting. All you have to do is to save the link that we are using right now and then i-click lang na ninyo siya every time magpa-schedule ko og meeting. By the way, ang ato ang video conference pod is i-held nato ni siya regularly during our schedule. I request nga i-approach ninyo inyong advisor or i-chat ninyo pangayo mog copy sa giplat nga schedule. Namagutay platted nga schedule. Lahi ng schedule nga naa sa inyong certificate of enrollment. Namantay bago nga schedule good. So, I do hope nga gi-share to sa inyong advisor sa inyo ha. If not, pangayo na lang copy because mo to tong i-follow nga schedule. So for our second rule, during our Zoom meeting, I will be muting you upon your entry. Nga naman, it is to avoid further noise problems bitaw. Maka-distract magud siya sa ubang classmates and it will greatly affect our teaching and learning process. So, i-mute gid nako mo. But naman po'y times no that you need to voice out, especially kung namoy questions or other concerns. So you can always use the raise hand feature sa tuang Zoom meeting application. You can always look for that. Pangita lang kung asa na dapita siya. And then man-notify man ko kung gagamit mo ana nga feature so that I can unmute you and then you can voice out your concern. Napampud tay. So, what if maulaw mo voice out, mo storya? We can also use the chat box feature. If na may questions or other concern, you can type your questions there sa chat box. So, you are also given the option to send the question privately to me or to send it to everyone. Makakita ang tanan. Kung maulaw mo sa inyong question or sa concern, you can send it privately to me. So, maura to siya atong concern sa atong video conference. Let's proceed to the activities. So, we'll be using the GenU e-learning platform because if you have noticed, most teachers are using the Google Classroom. But for me, magamit ko GenU nga naman. Mas beneficial siya sa tua kay gibayaran ninyo ang GenU. The Google Classroom is free, tapos ang GenU mo'y gibayaran ninyo. So, unfair po sa inyong part kung dili nato ni siya gamiton. So, let's bear with this, no? I understand na some are having difficulties in accessing GenU. By the way, I do hope naka-answer ratanan sa kuang naka-answer ratanan sa survey nga ko ang gipost sa GenU. Gipost na ko to siya last week pagyud and upon reading the result, analyzing the result, siguro 50-50 no. Some are having difficulty in accessing GenU while others don't have difficulties at all. So good thing for those sa wala galisod. So if ever galisod mog access sa GenU because hinay og signal, do not worry because ang deadline pud sa akong mga activities is dili orada. Meaning to say sa kuang manggong activities tagaan ako mog 1 week nga deadline. I mean, 1 week nga duration para maka-answer good mo. So, ana lang na siya. Okay? So, ayaw po mo kabalaka, no? Mag-post ra kog activities as well as recorded discussions during our scheduled time to meet. Makita ninyo ato ang schedule sa giplat nga schedule sa ato ang principal. Pangayo lang mo ana sa inyong advisor. So this is actually one concern nga ako ang nadungog, gabalik-balik sa ko ang messages last semester atong ga-implement big Genyo e-learning. Some students are complaining nga dili sila ka-answer sa Genyo because dili sila notify nga ga-post na day ang teacher. So, I would like to remind you no nga you are students right now. Meaning to say you are expected to check your learning platform on your schedule. I-check ninyo yung platform in case nga ga-post ang teacher. Basically, dapat yun mo check kay klase good mo. In my case, i-check ra ninyo siya during our schedule because sure kung naka-upload na ko ana. And mora to akong concern sa tuang activities as well as sa tuang video conference. Mora to tong roles. For another kuan, for other kuan lang ni sila concerns, please do not forget to take down notes. So you need to take note of our discussion of the important things. You need to have documentation. Dili ni siya requirement but it is a must. This is something that students need to do, manggod. You need to keep a record of what we are discussing. Since students, manggod mo, di ba, mo manay ginabuhat ninyo itong face-to-face. So, how is it different sa online class? So, dapat mag-take note yapon mo. So, maura na ito ang concern sa tong orientation. If you still have questions or other concerns, do not hesitate to contact me sa kuang Facebook account. To start with, let's start with the question, what is contemporary art? Please pause the video and try to discuss this with yourself kung unsa jay meaning sa contemporary art. Once you are ready, you may play the video again. You may pause the video now. Okay, I will assume that you already have your answer. Before going to the next slide, let me tell you that contemporary art refers to the artwork of today. To make it more simple, if we connect art to other subject, particularly history, so in history, natay lain-laing eras. For example, prehistoric era, medieval era, Renaissance era. So, it goes the same with art. So, sa artwork, naputay lain-laing era wherein, in each era, artwork has their own development. So, here is the timeline of Philippine arts, or the timeline of Philippine arts in different era, starting with the ethnic art until contemporary era. Contemporary era again is the era of the present, the era of the art of the present, in the present. You may take a screenshot of this timeline, and as you can see, each era has their own nature. For example, ethnic era is about it is integral to life. Islamic art, geometric design, Spanish era, faith and catechism, and so on and so forth. You may take a screenshot and then read it later. Let's proceed to the next slide. So contemporary art, okay, it is an art at the present or in the period. Art made and produced by artists living today. So let us proceed to our first lesson, contemporary art forms in the Philippines. So basically, we are going to discuss about the different artworks or art forms in the current era, particularly in our country. Here are our objectives for this lesson. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define contemporary art, identify the major contemporary art forms in the Philippines, describe the contemporary art forms in the Philippines, describe their practices from the various regions, and broaden and acquire the necessary creative tools that open opportunities in pursuing individual career goals and aspiration. I do hope that we can achieve these objectives for today. So here are the 7 major contemporary art forms in the Philippines. Before we proceed, please pause the video and try to guess what are those major contemporary art forms. You may pause the video now. I do believe that you already made your answer. Let us check the 7 major contemporary art forms in the Philippines, starting with music, literature, theater, film, dance, architecture, design and allied arts, and visual arts. I do hope that you got all of them correct, or you may got some of them correct. But the question is, for now, is are you familiar with these contemporary art forms? If you are, that's good. Let us now discuss each of them. Starting with music. Music is an art form that appeals to the sense of hearing, composed by combining notes into harmony. Basically, there's no need for us to broaden the definition of music because I know that everyone here already knows what music is. For literature, literature is an art form of language through the combined use of words, creating meaning and experience. Theater. Theater is an art form of performance. Dramatic text is portrayed on stage by actors and actresses and are enhanced by props, lights, and sounds. Form of art in which artists use their voice and their bodies, often in relation to other objects, to convey artistic expressions. Film, a technological translation of theater. Special effects are utilized to enhance the storytelling. For you not to be confused, film is a technological advancement of theater. In terms of difference, there's not much of a difference between film and theater. It's just that theater is portrayed on stage while film is portrayed using cameras or videos. Dance, an art of the human form. Body is used, mobilized, and choreographed in a specific time, form, and space. Architecture, design, and allied arts, structure that meant to be used as shelter. Its art relies on the design and purpose of the structure. Visual arts, artwork such as painting, photography, or sculpture that appeals primarily to the visual sense and typically exists in permanent form. So again, can you try to cite all of the seven major contemporary art forms in the Philippines? Try to cite them without looking at your notes. You may pause the video and play it again once you are done. Please pause the video now. Okay, I do believe that you already had your answer. So once again, these are the seven major contemporary art forms in the Philippines. Before we proceed to the next slide, let me emphasize that art or artwork is not limited to visual arts alone. It does not only refers to drawing and painting. It also refers to music, literature, theater, film, dance, architecture. So basically, when we say artwork manggod, atong mauna-unaan dayon is drawing, which is basically a very wrong conception. So we are now living in the 21st century, and by that, let us also abreast ourselves that artworks or art is not limited. It can be in any form as long as it portrays beauty and feeling. This time, let's discuss some of the contemporary art practices from various regions. Let's start with dance. Are you familiar with this type of dance? So this dance is called tinikling. It is a Philippine dance which involves two individual performers hitting bamboo poles, using them to beat, tap, and slide on the ground, in coordination with one or more dancers who steps over and in between the poles. I'm very sure that some of us have already seen a live performance of tinikling because this is a very famous folk dance in our country. For those who have not seen it yet, you may check this video. The next one is Carinyosa. It is a Philippine national dance from the Maria Clara suite of Philippine folk dance. Another dance is the Haladaya Festival, the northernmost town of Cebu. Daan Bantuyan celebrates a festival in honor of the warrior Datu Daya of Kandaya. Sinulog Festival is a dance ritual of the miraculous image of Santo Niño. So we are all very familiar of these ones. It is actually timely and relevant now since we had celebrated our Sinulog Festival last week.
Celebrate Cebu, celebrate Cebu, an island of exciting things for me and for you. Celebrate Cebu, celebrate Cebu, a never-ending festivity. Let's dance and be happy.
Before we proceed, let me pause this question. What is the difference between Haladaya Festival and Sinulog Festival? As what we've seen in the video presentation, both of them have um, similar costumes, similar actions, and similar way of portraying their dance. So what do you think is the difference between the two, based from the definition? So, particularly, the one difference of the two is the purpose. Haladaya is celebrated in honor of a warrior, Datu Daya, while Sinulog celebrates Santo Niño. So, basically, the same ang costume, similar ang costume, ang actions, the way they dance it, but ang kalainan lang nila is the purpose or the reason nga nung ningsayaw sila. So, unsa may reason sa ilahang pagsayaw ana. Then another sample of art forms, the design under design and art purpose. We have the Lapu-Lapu Shrine. It is a 20-meter bronze statue located in the Mactan Shrine in Punta Inganyo, Mactan Island, Cebu. The statue was created to honor Raja Lapu-Lapu, the native chieftain of Mactan Island who defeated Ferdinand Magellan during historic Battle of Mactan in 1521. So remember, Lapu-Lapu Shrine falls under the design and art purpose. So it is called design and art purpose because aside from being beautiful, it is also an art with a purpose. And the purpose of this Lapu-Lapu Shrine is to give honor to Lapu-Lapu. For architecture, we have this Bornham Park from Baguio City. So the architect is William Parson and the urban planner is Daniel Bornham. So this is just actually a park which is very good for leisure activities and for relaxation. For visual art, we have this very famous painting. Can you guess the name of this painting and the name of the painter? So of course, the very famous is Polarium by Juan Luna. So that's the end of our discussion today. I do hope that you learned a lot from our first lesson. And if you still have questions, you may contact me using the contact information that I've posted earlier. And do not forget to check your Genio account and submit your activities ahead or before the deadline. Thank you guys for coming and I do hope that I'll be seeing you again next meeting.